traveling to my destination, I often just stop at a random place that pops up on the GPS, check it out, and that was the case here at Santee State Park in South Carolina. Good Saturday morning and welcome to North Carolina. I made it to North Carolina yesterday, had a restful night at Cracker Barrel in Rock Mount, North Carolina, and now I'm headed east towards the Outer Banks. Don't have a campground reservation for this Saturday night, and also there's a coastal flood advisory for that very flood-prone area through tomorrow morning. So today we'll be checking out some areas prior to getting to the Outer Banks. Once again, welcome to North Carolina. I've arrived at my harvest host for the evening. This is Morris Farms, close to the Outer Banks of North Carolina. They got a live band playing, they got hay rides going on for the kids, bounce houses. I think that lots of beer drinking going on. So let's go check it out. So my goal for this trip to the Outer Banks is to get at least 1 or 2 photographs that I can add to my top 10 list, because it's been quite a while since I focused on photography. So I think this is the perfect location to do that. Hopefully I'll get a couple good shots. First little bit of wildlife here. Good sized snake that seems to be looking at me. I have no idea what kind of snake that is. He's probably about 4 feet, 3 to 4 feet. And of course he's right in my path where I want to walk. So yeah. So I'm on my little kayak adventure here on the Roanoke River in North Carolina. And I kayaked down a little side tributary here just to get off of the main river. And wow, is it ever peaceful. Let me turn the camera around. Just absolute peacefulness. All I can hear is birds. And the leaves are beautiful this time of year. So it's probably time to head back slowly. Going to go at a very slow pace. And I did get some nice pictures, I think, of what I believe was a kingfisher bird. If they turned out good, I will show them here. But let's see what we can come across on our way back here on the Roanoke River in North Carolina. One of the highlights of my trip was visiting several of the country's most beautiful lighthouses, the first being the Currituck Lighthouse, built in 1875 and still in operation today. Each lighthouse is intentionally colored differently to make them more easily identifiable to the passing ships. Another beautiful lighthouse. This is the Bodie Island Lighthouse, just north of the campground. The largest and most famous lighthouse in the Outer Banks is the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, mostly because in 1999, after years of study and debate, the lighthouse was moved 2,900 feet to its present location, which is now 1,500 feet from the seashore, which if it wouldn't have been moved, the seashore would have destroyed the lighthouse and all of its history. So that's the ocean on the other side of that dune. And that's where the lighthouse used to be located. And in 1999, they rolled it to its current location over there. One of my favorite things to do is just sit on an empty beach with my camera and just take pictures and video of whatever happens to be around. And the Outer Banks definitely provided plenty of opportunities for that. buddy? I think you're lost. As I'm walking back to the RV after a morning at the beach, I have my second snake encounter of the trip. This one being significantly larger than the first one that I saw. And I think this next video clip will give you an indication of how big he really was. Alright, I made it to my next campground, Cape Point Campground. This place is empty. And the first thing I need to do is try to get a little sand out of here. Good as new. Alright, Tuesday morning. Left the campground early. Parked here at the Oregon Inlet Marina. Water's looking nice and peaceful today, much calmer than it was yesterday. A lot of fishermen out there. Occasionally I go a little too far down these little side paths, and then I realize I can't turn around. So I decided to go ahead and let's kayak around this little island. I don't think it's that big, but what the heck, on a beautiful day like this, can't think of anything better to do. So, time for some fun. Alright, tank duty is complete. We're back at the camper, and it is time for our little seafood feast here. So we got some shrimp, we got some mahi, I got a mahi fillet there, and a tuna fillet. So don't really have a whole lot of things to do here, but I'm just going to put a little Old Bay on everything basically. Gotta say, it doesn't look too bad. And now it's time to dig in. Seafood night number 2. Got some scallop and some grouper, and I think tonight I'm gonna do only the scallops. Got some sea salt here. We'll go ahead and add a little pepper. Old Bay as well, since I have it. Might as well use it. And that'll do it. Alright, I found the campsite, P3 for the night, and I decided that I've been enjoying my seafood the last couple nights so much, decided to do it again. So I went to a seafood market, got some steamed clams, some steamed crab legs, and I think I'm going to enjoy these, or at least most of these, right now. I was blessed to witness some spectacular sunrises and sunsets while visiting the Outer Banks, and I'd like to share some of those with you here. Wind, sand, and a dream of flight brought Wilbur and Orville Wright to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, where after 4 years of experimentation, they achieved their first successful airplane flights in December of 1903. My next stop was at the Wright Brothers Memorial and Museum in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. So the Wright Brothers would launch their test airplanes from the rock behind me. So the end of their first flight was 12 seconds later for a total of 120 feet. A few minutes later, lasted 12 seconds, went 175 feet. This marks the end of the third test flight. 15 seconds, 200 feet. And the big flight was flight number 4. If you can see the marker way down. It's pretty neat to think that this was the location of the real beginning of flight for human beings. End of the fourth flight, 59 seconds, 852 feet. Again on December 17th, 1903. This 60-foot granite monument was dedicated in 1932 atop a 90-foot tall Kill Devil Hill, commemorating the achievement of the Wright brothers. Then visited the very friendly island of Ocracoke, only accessible by ferry, has a population of less than 1,000 people, used to be part of Hatteras Island on the north of it, but a storm back in the 1800s separated it into its own island. This island depends very heavily on fishing and tourism.
Hey, I heard you want to leave this place where we grew up. This old town, just put it all behind. Remember you and I would always find somewhere to hide when we were kids, so we could see and hear the water run. The river's gonna cry when you're gone. Leave a mark in our minds. gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're gone, gone, gone.
To build both this lighthouse as well as a Pirates lighthouse. The walls are solid brick, 5 foot thick, solid brick at the base. They taper up to 2 foot at the top. They estimate 850,000 brick were used to build the lighthouse.
Has it had to go through a lot of renovations over the years?
It really hasn't. There's a couple things, if you look on the walls there, you'll see where the original stairs went. The original stairs were 2-inch thick, solid Georgia pine. They radiated from a central column all the way to the wall, so they filled up the entire cavity. These stairs were put back in the 1950s by the Coast Guard.
Several hundred years ago, a shipwreck just offshore left a herd of Spanish Mustangs stranded on Ocracoke Island. Their descendants still thrive here today. These ponies are a rare breed. They were once roamed wild on the island, but now they've been penned for their protection and cared for by the National Park Service since 1959.
Seems like time as a wave passing by, leave a mark in our marks that turn to memories. River's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're. River's gonna cry when you're. River's gonna cry when you're gone. Hoping you would stay, but I've always known that you would go and find your own way. I still see when we climbed up in those trees, 12 years old, feel the wind, watch the river run, and the sun would always shine. When we sat there, you and I. The river's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're gone, 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 gone. River's gonna cry when you're. River's gonna cry when you're. River's gonna cry when you're gone. It's gonna cry, it's gonna cry. You want to leave this place where we grew up, this old town, just leave it all behind. The river's gonna cry when you're gone.